What's up everyone and welcome to the club. Today you and I will be creating a sketch illustration of a dragon. For today's lesson we'll need a sketch pad and a pencil. I'm going to start today's drawing with this 0.7mm mechanical pencil with a 2B graphite stick, and I'll be drawing on the Strathmore fine tooth sketch pad. Let's begin by breaking down the basic structure of the head with some guidelines. So we'll start by sketching a line coming down the center of our page. So we'll start at the very top in the middle. I'm just going to lightly work our way down across the bottom of our page using these short lines. Now let's move back to the center and draw another line going across from left to right. And these lines are going to help us balance out our drawing. Now with our guidelines in place, we're going to add the center spine to establish the shape of the head. So let's start from the center. We're just going to angle the head down towards the left, coming down and then out. And we're going to curve the neck. We're going to go all the way around, bend this down towards the bottom. Now we're going to bring this across towards the left side. And this is the center spine. And then bend that back down towards the bottom. Now I want to establish the size of the head by drawing a circle in the center. So from the center point, we're going to step up to right about here, mark off the top of our circle. Now let's measure this distance from this line towards the center, down towards the bottom. So right here, it's going to mark this off. And we're going to do the same thing across this horizontal line. So measuring this distance from the center over towards the left, and then over towards the right. And we'll connect the center point of each mark with a curve to create our circle. So let's start with the top left. And we're just using this as a guide, so the circle doesn't have to be perfect. Come all the way around. And we don't want to go too dark because we'll eventually erase this out. Now that we established the basic shape, we want to start adding some volume. So now this line is going to act as a top edge of the mouth so we can determine the length of the beak. So right about here, go straight up. I just want to bend that in to right about there. Now from here, we're going to bend this down, come in, and then up towards the outside of our circle on the left. You see that we've created a horn on the top of the beak. Let's follow this line all the way in towards the corner of the mouth to right about here. Bend this down, and then across. Now I'm going to add another line. We're going to come down. We're just going to open up the jaw, come all the way down, bend that all the way out towards the bottom tip of the jaw. Let's add some thickness to the jaw, angle this down and in. Now we're going to come up, just going to go nearer, bend that out, and we're going to curve the jaw in towards the right side of our circle. Now I want to line up the top of the beak with the eye line, so we're going to angle this up and then out. We're just following the same angle that we have with the mouth, going up and out. And we're going to blend this into a horn, going out, bend that up toward the top, bend this down. Now I'm just going to taper this so it gets thicker as you come in toward the head. I'm just going to clip off the top of our circle, coming in. Now we're going to add some thickness to the back of the head. So starting up here, just going to follow the same curve that we have for the spine, going all the way around towards the back of the head. Now it's going to blend this down and then in towards the bottom of that line. Let's add some thickness to the front of the neck. Starting from the jaw, add some thickness across the front. Now at this stage, we can start to see the shape of the dragon coming across, so we want to continue adding some more detail and refining the shapes. Let's start with the beak. We want to take away the straight line, coming down. Just going to modify the shape with a wave, coming across, and then out. Just going to bend this out towards the outside of the jaw. Now we're going to locate the eye. So starting from this brow line, come down, bend that up. Now right in here, it's going to add a curve for the bottom edge of the eye, coming across and then in. Just tucking that in underneath the brow, and then adding a fold. Now I'm going to go in with my gum eraser and start erasing some of these guidelines to get a better look at our drawing. Now that we've cleaned up our drawing, we're left with a very flat two-dimensional drawing. So we want to add some depth and shape. So let's start by tilting the head forward on the left side. So this horn, we're going to see the back side. So up here, it's going to duplicate this, going up. Now you want to bring that up towards the same height, and then bring that back down on top. We're also going to see the inside edge of the mouth. So starting up from the tip, see the bottom edge of the mouth, We're just going to taper this so it gets wider as we come back in towards the throat. And we're also going to see the back side of the mouth. So following the same shape, coming in, coming around, and then back out. Let's add that nostril over on the left side. So we'll start down here, add that fold going up and out. Just going to fold this back in behind the top on the right. Now let's add some thickness. Now from here we start layering on some more detail on top. So let's add some more spikes going across the back of the head. Starting from the top of the brow, just going to add a point going up and then back in. And just working our way in behind that front horn, going out towards the back. You can see that I'm just pulling these lines back in to create almost like a scale effect. Just going to bend this across and then down, just working with the shape of the neck. I'm also going to add some scales across the side of the jaw. Just pulling this up. I'm just going to add some more layers along the side. I'm going to add some points across the chin. And then I also want to add a center seam going across the middle of the neck. So almost like following that same spine that we created at the beginning. And this will be a guideline for the scales. I'm just going to add more shape to the eye. Just darken up the bottom of the eyes. Now you see I'm starting to layer on more detail as we go. So starting out with the basic shapes first, and then layering the details on after. And I always like to start back of the eyes when I start adding those details. I'm just adding some more shape to the perimeter of the head, going up. And we can start layering on some more detail on top. So we're going to add these little hairs going around. Just going to add a few little hairs coming down from the top edge of the mouth. And some along the back side. Let's add a long whisker coming in. So we're just drawing this on top of that guideline underneath. We can go back and clean that up after. You can see that I'm adding some folds also across the edge of the mouth. To keep things clean, I'm just going to go back and just continue to erase some of those guidelines underneath. I'm going to add more shape to that horn. Now we're just going to layer some whiskers in behind those scales along the side of the jaw. And we can extend this out past the side of the neck just to give this a little bit more of a dynamic shape. I'm just going to go and just roughly add some teeth across the top. And we're just bending this back in towards the throat. I'm going to come back after and add some more contrast. So we'll start with the back side and push that inside of the mouth into a silhouette after. Add those fangs across the top and bottom. I'm just going to add the edge of the tongue coming out, and then up towards the tip, and then back in. And I'm just going to do one final cleanup before I add some more detail and shading. Now I want to switch to my 0.9mm pencil and start adding some contrast. So we start back of the eyes. Just going to darken up those areas going around. We can add some subtle shadows as well. Now while we're doing that, I want to take a moment to introduce our Cartoon Academy of Art. For just $1 a month, you'll get access to all our membership tutorials with new ones being added each week. Best of all, you can enjoy the entire program in an ad-free environment. I also have a free option for those who aren't able to pay by subscribing to our Excel sketch channel. You can find out more information with links in the description of this video. Now let's get back to the lesson. Now we're just going to stretch that skin across the side of the jaw, coming across the mouth. We're just going to pull this down. Now I also created this little gap along the inside, so I'm just going to shade in the top and then fade that down towards the bottom. And again, continue to stretch that skin across the jawline, down across the mouth. And go back and add those teeth across the back side of the mouth. And I'm just tracing out the silhouette. We'll add that front row of teeth on top. And same thing with the back side. We're just tracing the outside perimeter of the teeth going in. And then we're going to darken up the inside of the mouth along the back. I'm just doing a first pass just to establish where the shading goes. It's going around the tongue. And we can go back and just darken up the top edge. So this will sit in the shadow areas. Just create a little bit more contrast. This will help us get some more depth in our drawing. Now with the outside edge of the neck, I don't want to get too detailed with this. So we just want to capture the shapes. I'm just going to establish a nice composition. I'm going to do one final cleanup. Now with our shading, we want to imagine that the light's coming from the top left side of our page, going across our character, so the shadows will sit along the bottom edge, and the highlights will sit along the top. So it's going to use our 2mm pencil in the flat side edge. It's going to lightly add in some shadows. I'm just blending that up towards the top. We can also add a little bit of a highlight along the outside edge of the head. And then going to the brow and just working our way out. Now with this horn, you can see that we added a core shadow in the center and just blended this out towards the side. So we get a little bit of highlight on the bottom edge and the top. And then with the front horn, we're going to do the same thing. Just starting from the inside, just going to blend this out so it gets wider, then up toward the tip, and then blend that out toward the sides. You see that we've added a shadow just underneath each of these scales and blending that out. This is going to help lift those scales off the page. Now we're going to add a core shadow across that seam that we created in the center. So going dark in the middle, and then we'll blend that out towards the sides. I'm just going to enhance the contrast of those core shadows. Just going to darken up the edge and just blend that up. I'm using my 0.9mm pencil for this. And we'll add the silhouette of whiskers across the back, just with a light pass. And also refining the teeth across the back. I'm just going to add some detail inside. So I'm just going to add some veins going across the neck. And I'm going to go back to the side edge of our pencil and start adding some scales. So just adding these little spots, starting from the front of the beak and just working our way across. And we want to go a little bit darker around the shadow areas and then fade those out in the highlights. back to my 0.7mm pencil and start adding some fine details. So just folds and wrinkles across the tongue. Just going to drip some saliva from the tip. And we'll add those cracks and crevices inside the skin. Now as we get closer to the end, I'm just going to add a little bit more detail across the body, and always be sure to sign our artwork, and that's pretty much it. There's a sketch illustration of a dragon. I hope you enjoyed today's lesson, and if you did, please make sure you subscribe because I'm posting new lessons every single day. I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you again soon. What's up everyone, and welcome to the club. In today's video, we're drawing a basilisk from Harry Potter. Let's begin today's lesson by sketching a line going across the center of our page from left to right. So I'm going to start on the left side of our page. Just going to lightly work our way across towards the right side. Now this line is going to help separate the top and bottom half of the head. So let's start back in the middle. We're going to draw the top edge of the mouth. We're going to go up and then out. Draw a short line going out towards the edge of the mouth. Now from here, we're just going to angle this back down. We want to go wider as we come down towards that center line. So coming down and then in. From here, we can draw a straight line coming all the way down towards the bottom of the mouth. Down to right about there. Draw a short line coming in. Now I connect this line to the corner of the mouth with a straight angled line. Now at this stage, we're just building out the basic shape of the head before we get into the details. Let's draw the front of the head. Starting from this point, draw a short angled line coming up and in. Go over towards the right side and draw that same angled line. Then we're going to close off the top with a straight line. Now we want to continue that line going across the top of the head towards the left to right about here. And we're going to curve the neck going all the way around and then back down. Just going to swirl this around, go across, and then back down. Now along the top, let's draw a circle for the eye. Going around and then back up. From the bottom of the eye, let's draw the jawline. We're going to go across, round out the jaw, and then pull that back in towards the edge of the mouth. Now we're going to go back down to the bottom corner of the mouth, draw the bottom of the head. We're going to go up, just going to bend that out just underneath the jaw, straight out towards the side. Now you want to round out the left side of the head. So it's going to come around, go up, just up above this curve. I'm just going to bend that back down on top of the head. Just tapering this down towards that point. Now I'm going to continue this curve underneath the head, come in, and then bend that down towards the bottom of our page. Let's move over towards the left, draw that same curve, going out, and then bend that down. Now that we have the basic shape of the head, let's go back and erase that center line. Now we're going to use this rough sketch as a guide to help us add some more detail and refine the shape. Let's start with the top edge of the mouth. Starting down here, I'm just going to bend this up and then down towards the jaw. I'm just going to bend this up, go across, and then back up towards the corner of the mouth. Let's round up the front, going up and then down. I'm just going to follow that curve along the back side of the mouth, coming in. And then we're going to work our way down towards the bottom. Let's start back on the left on the corner of the mouth, coming in, bend that down. Just taking out that sharp straight line, go to the back of the mouth, come down and out, and down towards the bottom. Let's round out the bottom of the mouth. Now I'm just going to add some detail inside the mouth with the cartilage along the corner of the mouth. Do the same thing across the back. And then we just want to indicate the throat with a curve coming around and just tucking that in behind. And then from the bottom, I'm just going to add the edge of the tongue, going out and then down. Let's add some shape to the eyes. Things up and out. And draw the top of the eye. And just block in the inside. Now along the front, add 2 ovals for the nostrils. And we're just going to add a little bit of shape to the top edge of the head. Just going around the nostrils. Go across the top, over the eye. And then towards the back. Let's go back and add a little bit more shape to the jawline. I'm just going to add some spikes across the back of the head. Let's add one across the front, add one across the back, I'm just going to add a couple more spikes coming down the side of the head. Now I'm going to move back to the front and add in the teeth. Let's start with those 2 large fangs across the top. Add a couple inside. Now it's going to work along the top edge of the mouth, just pulling this back in. Let's add some teeth across the bottom. Add the 2 large fangs going up across the corners, and just work our way up along the side. And we go back and clean up our drawing one more time before we start adding in the details. And now we're going to use that rough sketch again as a guide to add in some more details. So we're just going to darken up our contours and adding a little bit more shape as we go. So from the eye, I'm just going to work my way out, adding some more wrinkles and folds. Go across the top. I'm not going to get into any shading at this stage. Just want to get the right contours and shape first, and make any adjustments if we need to. I'm going to go back and just separate the base of the teeth along the top just to leave room for the gum line. So just adding a curve along the top and then tracing out the bottom. And then go and just tuck that gum line in between the teeth. Just going to add some folds across the back of the throat. I'm just going to add some folds across the inside of the mouth. Now you can see with the curve on the outside edge of the head, I'm not trying to create one continuous curve. I'm actually breaking this up into small, short, curved lines, and this will help keep my drawing from looking too stiff. Now I'm switch to a pencil with an open sheath so I can shade with the flat edge of the lid. Let's start with the inside of the mouth. Just going to darken up the back of the throat. And then just lighten that up as you come forward. Also going to darken up the top edge of the mouth and blend that down. I'm just going to add a little bit of shading from the top edge of the tongue across the back of the mouth and just pull this up across those folds. Now I want to create some consistent light and shadows, so I'm going to position the light from the top left side of the page going across our character, so the highlights will sit along the top and the shadows across the bottom. Let's start back at the eye. Just want to push the top of the eye in, so just going to darken that up. And we're just darkening the underside of each fold. just adding some shadows across the bottom of the head, and then just blending that up towards the side. Now just creating a highlight along the top left side. Now just adding some shadow across the side of the body and just fading that in. And this will help give some roundness and shape to the body. And we'll do the same thing on the right side. I'm going to go a little bit darker on the right side because this is pushed into the shadow area. I'm also going to create a shadow going across the top of the body, and this is cast from the head. So again, just darkening up the top, just underneath the head, and then blending that down. Now we're going to go back and add some vein textures inside the body. And now we're just going in and adding some shaded spots for the scales. And I'm just randomizing the size and darkness. I'm just going to place these along the bottom half of the head. I'll just darken up the spots across the body, along the sides. Maybe go a little bit bigger with these, and then just fade them in towards those highlights. Now in this final pass, I'm just going in and just adding some fine details across the body. So adding some wrinkles going across, just curving this with the body. Just going around and then down towards the back. Now as we get near the end, I'm just going to refine our scales and add a little bit more detail, and always be sure to sign our artwork, and that's pretty much it. There's a sketch illustration of Basilisk from Harry Potter. I hope you enjoyed today's lesson. If you did, please make sure you subscribe because I'm posting new lessons every single day. I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you again soon. What's up everyone, and welcome to the club. In today's video, we're creating a realistic sketch illustration of a dragon. Let's begin today's lesson by sketching a line going across the center of our page. So we start on the left side. Just going to loosely work our way across towards the right. Now we use this line to separate the top and bottom half of the head. Let's start all the way over on the left side and draw a curve. We're gonna go up and then bend that in. Just gonna add a spike around the front of the head, come down. I'm just gonna bend that in towards that center line. Now I want to continue the outside of the curve coming down underneath that line and then in towards the mouth. Bend this up and then in towards that same point. Now you want to build the shape around the top of the head. Let's start from the edge of this curve. We're going to come down and then bend that up. Now on the end, we're just going to loosely sketch out a small oval for the eye. Now I'm going to add a spike coming down from underneath the eye. So we're going to start from the inside of the oval. We're going to come down, bend that up, bend this out, and back up towards the tip. Now you want to follow that same curve, but we're going to taper this so it gets thicker as you come back in towards that center line. Let's add a smaller spike along the front. We go up and in, and pull that back down on top of the face. Now I'm going to build up the brow with some spikes. We're going to start up here, then this around and up and in, come down and then in towards the inside of the eye. Let's add another layer. From this point, we're going to step down, go out and then up, come down and in on top of the eye. Now I'm going to add a larger spike. Come down, go out and up, pull this down and then in towards the right side of the eye. Now I'm going to layer one larger spike in behind. So we're starting on the side, going up and out, and then up towards the tip. I'm just going to pull this down and then in. Let's split this spike in half, starting from the tip. I'm just going to go in between those two lines and then come down. Let's add one curved spike going across the center line. So we're going to start up here just underneath the eye, bend this down, go up towards that center line, and then bend that down towards the back. Let's bend this up and pull that in behind. Now we're going to open up the jaw. We're going to start from the bottom, curve this down, and then out towards the tip of the mouth, bend this out, and then back up. Now I want to tilt the head back so we see the inside of the mouth. So we're going to start down here, curve this up, come down. I'm just going to pull this up towards the corner of the mouth. We're also going to see the back side of the lower jaw. So we're going to start from the tip. Just going to taper this up towards the top. I'm going to draw a curve for the center of the neck. Let's start up here. Just going to bend this around, come down and forward, and we'll bend that down towards the bottom of our page. Let's trace that curve along the outside. So we're going to start on the left, following that curve, going around. I'm just going to go wider with the space as you come down towards the bottom. Move over towards the right and do the same thing. Again, going wider as we come down. Now we're going to draw on the back side of the neck. Let's start up here and follow that same curve, going all the way around towards the back and then down towards the bottom. Now that we have the basic shape of the head, I want to go back and lightly erase that center guideline. Now in this next phase, we want to go in and start adding some more details and refining the shape. Let's start by adding a nostril on the left side. We'll start from the center line, bend this up and back. Just going to curl this around and just tuck that in behind the front curve. And then we're going to add some shape to the eye. Starting from the front, let's draw on the eyelid, going up and then back. Curve the bottom, coming down and then forward. And then in the center, draw a small circle for the iris and a small dot in the center for the pupil. Now I'm going to add some more shape and detail to these plates. Let's start with the back of the brow, going out and up, and just pulling that in. So we're just going to chisel the edges a little bit, just to get rid of that smooth curve. Come in towards the eye, draw in the eyelid, just tucking that up underneath. I want to add some more shape to the front edge of the mouth. Just going to pull this down I'm just going to add some folds along the bottom edge, just working our way back. And now I'm just going to add some more shape to the bottom edge of the mouth. I'm just going to add that bump in the center, and just round out and flatten off the chin. Just work our way around the outside. Let's duplicate that curve across the back. Now I'm just going to loosely block in the teeth across the back. Just coming in towards the inside. Just going to vary the size of these teeth. And we want to draw the same teeth across the back of the mouth. Start with that large fang across the front, and then just work our way back. Let's add some teeth across the front. And then I'm going to add a flame coming out from the center of the throat. So I'm just going to draw a wave just to add a guideline. Just working our way down towards the bottom. I'm just going to add a couple horns across the chin, just pointing these forward. And then the ones on the back, just going to bend them around. Now I'm going to use the center seam to add some overlapping armor. So from the top, I'm just going to bend this up and out towards the left, and then the right. Now I'm just going to repeat that all the way down towards the bottom. It's going up and then out. I'm just going to add some horns in the back. Now we're going to go back and just clean up our drawing. Now we're going to use our rough sketch as a guide to add some more details and contrast. Let's start with the front of the head. Just adding some more detail around the nostrils. I'm just going to darken up the inside of the eye going around the iris. You see that I'm adding some more wrinkles and folds as we go. I'm just going to add some more shape to those metal plates. So bending the center line, going out and down towards the tip, and working our way out. Also rounding out the outside edge. And now we're going to go back and add some more shape to those flames. Just adding a few points along the outside and just using that guide underneath. Now we'll go and clean up our drawing one final time before we add in our shading. Now I'm going to move to my 2mm lead and start adding some shading. Let's start with the inside edge of the mouth. Just going to darken up the top, going around the teeth. I'm just going to fade that out as you go down towards the bottom. And this will act as a reflection of the flame coming down. I'm also going to push these teeth into a silhouette, so we're just going to darken those up. Now as you go towards the back of the throat, we're just going to lighten up the shading and to give it a little bit of a glow. And we do the same thing across the bottom. Just darkening up the bottom of the mouth, going around the teeth, and then fading that up. Also going to fade this out towards the back of the throat. And we push the back row of teeth into a silhouette. Now we're going to add a shadow going around the eyes. Now you want to imagine that the light's coming from the top left across our characters. So this top edge will be in highlights, and the shadows will sit along the bottom. So I'm going to shade the bottom of those horns, and then fade that up towards a highlight. I'm just going to add a core shadow going across the front of the beak. So just going to darken this up. We want to have a highlight on the left side of that core shadow. So just going to fade that out toward the left. And then just gradually fade that out towards the right. Let's go back and just darken up the center of that core shadow. I'm also going to carry that shadow across the bottom edge of the mouth. Now I'm just going to darken up these spikes along the bottom of this line across the center. And I'll just add a light shade across the top, just fading that up towards the edge, towards a highlight. Now each of these spikes are going to cast a shadow with the one in behind. I'm just going to darken up the top of the neck. So the head's casting a shadow across the top, and we're just going to fade that out towards the side and the bottom. And I'm just going to shade in the right side of that center seam and then just blend that out. Just adding a light shade moving out towards the side on the left. And we don't need to get into too much detail across the body. Now I'm going to go back and layer some detail of scales on top. So these little ovals in random sizes going across. And just fill those in. Just work our way out towards the back. I'm just going to roughen those spots across the back of the neck. Again, not getting into too much detail back here. Now as we get closer to the end, I'll just continue to add some more detail and darken up my contrast, and always be sure to sign our artwork, and that's pretty much it. There's a sketch illustration of a dragon. I hope you enjoyed today's lesson. If you did, please make sure you subscribe because I'm posting new lessons every single week. I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Hey everyone, if you really want to discover your artistic potential, then join our Club Masterclass membership. For just $1 a month, you'll gain instant access to exclusive members-only drawing tutorials, virtual art camps, and much, much more. Join our thriving community of passionate artists just like you, and let your creativity soar. So just click that link in the description, and I'll see you in the club.